Hello there, and welcome to episode 3 of my playthrough of the 2018 Harebrained Schemes BattleTech game. This will be the third and final tutorial before we get into the game proper, and today we'll be doing the first priority mission on a moon of Alloway, I believe, and I'll be kind of doing this mission as almost like an extended tutorial, so putting into practice all the kind of theory stuff that I was talking about in the last tutorial video when I was in the mech bay. I'll be talking through how things like heat management work in game and how to utilize indirect fire and spotting and physical attacks and all that good interesting stuff. In terms of format going forward and the priority missions, I will talk through the actual fluff of the missions, so you're going to have the joy of listening to my dulcet Yorkshire tones, taking on all the characters of the BattleTech universe, because unfortunately they skimped out on the voice actors, which is slightly annoying because it's just like text, which really annoys me. I don't know why. I just sometimes the characters do speak, but then most of the time they don't. It's like, just do one or the other, because this halfway house thing is slightly annoying. Anyway, I'll stop moaning. That's what I'm best at, because I'm a Yorkshireman. So let's just go and launch contract here. And okay, so this is Samiri, who is our pilot. Commander, I'm setting a course for Lady Centrola's jump shed. It's strange though, this moon it's taken us to, Axilus, doesn't appear on any of my maps, which leads me to wonder, where exactly are we going, and how do they intend to get us there? So here we are, several hours later, uncharted space. So this is Yang, this is our mech tech chief, or chief mech tech, sorry. He's a Capellan, so he's always got a slightly weird and wonderful opinion on the world. That was one hell of a rough ride. My stomach is still doing somersaults. That's because those crazy blackguards, I don't swear on this channel, used a pirate point to get us here. If we'd suffered a misjump, a sour stomach would be the least of your concerns. The leopard could have gotten irreparably mangled. Hell, we could have been irreparably mangled. The cautionary holovids they showed us at the academy was the stuff of nightmares. Okay, we're mercenaries. Our job carries an assumption of risk. Darius. Darius is my favourite character in this game. He always speaks sense. If in doubt, just listen to Darius. He's a wonderfully wise person. You heard the commander. Stow the complaints and pay attention. We have a job to discuss. So this is the view screen. A grainy map for Barren Moon fills your view screen. A section of the image has been highlighted in white. The Argos crash site is here, smack dab in the middle of a pirate stronghold. The ship, the stronghold, and everything around it belong to a self-styled bandit queen called Grim Sybil. Her gang is the closest thing that Axilus has to a ruling council. This is very BattleTech. You'd find pirates will fill the vacuum if there's a power vacuum left, and Grim Sybil has done it here. And she's also managed to get hold of Lost Tech, which is the Argo which we are hunting for here. Grim Sybil, is that supposed to be scary? It sounds like the kind of name you'd choose out of a hat. What do their defensive look like? They're patchy at best. I don't think the Axilus gets lots of visitors. They have strong anti-air cover, but little in the way of ground defences. I'm seeing a lot of vehicles, but battle mech activity looks light. So the pirates have vehicles and turrets, maybe for battle mechs. Got it, keep going. The entire structure is surrounded by radar-guided anti-aircraft guns. Your first task will be to take down the radar towers so that Samira can approach the derelict. After you've secured the crash site, she'll dock with the Argo and drop off the engineering team. And then they'll miraculously get a 200-year-old wreck flying again. Lady Centrella, she is the lady from the Magistracy of Canopus. She's like our benefactor in this mission. Has bet a massive stack of sea bills that they will. For what it's worth, I believe that her chief engineer can pull this off. I've never heard of Dr. Farah Murad before Lady Sindrova mentioned her, but I did some digging after our meeting. She was telling the truth. The doc has quite a reputation. Supposed to be some kind of frontier engineer wunderkind, and a genius at bringing dead ships back to life. Well, yes, that's good enough for me. I'm glad to hear it, because it's going to have to be. Now that we're here, we're kind of committed to seeing this job through. I'll leave you to it, Lemuel. Good hunting on the moon's surface. I'll be keeping an eye on you from up here. Right, very good. So here we are now, we're on our mech selection, so I'm just going to clear all this. Quite easy today, we've got 4 mechs and 4 mech warriors, so it should be quite easy to choose our lance. I always put Lemuel in the first, or not necessarily Lemuel, whoever is leading the lance I'll put in the first bay. I then usually put my 2 tanks in the centre bay, so in this case that will be the Shadowhawk. We don't really have another tank, but I suppose it would be the Urbimax. He's got the AC-10, and we'll put the Vindicator last there. I think we'll put Vortex in the Shadowhawk. We'll put Darkstar in the Urban Mech Oscar, and we'll put Code in Vindicator Bugbear. It doesn't really matter at this point because everyone's really bad at shooting. Really, well, actually, Darkstar's okay. He's got photo gunnery and he's got the AC-10 today in the Urban Mech, so he should be all right. Code, I'm putting him in the Vindicator for sentimental reasons. He is a Capellan and the Vindicator is a Capellan mech, so he's suited well in there. Vortex in Vixen. He, I think, is going to turn into one of my big tank mech warriors, so it makes sense to put him into our biggest, toughest mech with the most firepower and the biggest melee, on the hardest melee attack. Said this on the previous episode. The Shadowhawk has a very weird melee quirk in that he does 85 points of damage, which is unbelievably good for a medium mech. So very easy to turn the Shadowhawk into a tank early on in this game. Not much else to say really. These mechs are what they are. They are all pretty much like stock, like loadouts. In fact, the Vindicator is... I think I've added an extra M laser to the Vindicator, so he's slightly less heat efficient but has more firepower. Blackjack, I did strip an M laser off because it just runs too hot. You're never really going to be able to fire those 4 M lasers if you're jumping around too much, so I've stripped that out and put more armour on there. Urbimax is just a walking turret. He's basically got 8 shots of the AC-10 and a couple of jump jets. That's it. That's fine though. That's all an Urbimax can really do if you put an AC-10 on there. Traditionally, you would put an S laser on there and put less armour on, but I want more armour. And that's about it. So let's get into this and deploy. Now, as I say, I'm going to talk through, this is a tutorial, so I'm going to talk through everything that I'm doing. I'm going to kind of deal with all the little strategies and nuances that you need to play this game. So bear with me. Might be slightly frustrating, especially for experienced players. Yeah, I know all this, but if anyone is new to this game, I'm sure they'll benefit from looking or watching at this. So, we're on a lunar today. That means that we'll have pretty bad heat sinking. Certain bios give positive or negative heat sinking, like the jungle or polar. It's actually easier to vent heat. Jungle, because all the moisture in the atmosphere allows the heat sink to work better. Polar, obviously, because it's colder. In deserts on deserts is worse, obviously. Lunar is really bad because there's no atmosphere, so there's nowhere for the heat to actually go to. So it's really, really quite impacted on. You've got to keep... I've not done it in this because I'm running a pretty basic lance, but you should always try to kind of adapt to your surroundings. If you're in Martian territory, tend to maybe bring ballistic mechs as opposed to mechs that are filled up with M lasers who generate tons of heat. So,
command interface initiated.
Very beautiful looking maps they've got here. Lovely colours, that green and grey work very well against each other. So here we are. Welcome to Axelis Commander. It's every bit as charming as you'd expect a pirate-occupied moon to be. You'll find Grim Sibyl's radar stations just ahead. Defences appear to be limited to turrets and ground vehicles for the time being, at least. We know that Grim Sibyl has at least 1 lance of battle mechs, so be ready for anything. Be careful of the pirates' turrets as you make your way into the base. They pack a nasty punch and they can also sense lock your mechs. Aim for the turret generator. That'll be the fastest way to neutralise the threat. After the pirates' radar stations are down, you'll be cleared to proceed to the Argo. Good hunting, Commander. Knock out their radar cover, crush any pirate resistance, and secure us the derelict. And there is the Argo. This map is gorgeous. All this, you kind of fight within the confines of this complex here, but the Argo's on the periphery of it all. Really badly beaten up there, but eventually it will become our chariot and we will make it shine again. So, what to talk about first? Okay, you don't actually get into a proper turn until you meet your opponent. So for the moment, we're kind of in like free territory. You see, everyone can sprint, or it's kind of set to sprint. We've got our objectives on the map, which are these little crosses and arrows. So we are taking down these radar stations. Should be Alpha and Beta, Bravo. There we go. And by destroying these, we are then basically limiting the pirates' ability to hit us with anti-aircraft weapons. We're going to land our Leopard and then bring the engineering team into the Argo to remove the pirates, get the Argo up and running, and fly off into space with it. That's the plan. You can see there's also another structure here. So this is a secondary objective here, destroy turret generator. I will be trying to get all the secondary objectives as I do play through this, so that's one for today. If it's a small cross, it's secondary. If it's a main cross, it's primary. So that should be quite easy. Once you destroy a turret generator, it destroys any turrets attached to it, so that's super useful, obviously. As opposed to having to shoot at 4 different turrets, which have all got their own like structure levels, you can destroy the generator and then all the turrets go pop. But at the moment, we can't shoot at anything because we're in the game stage. So we're just going to sprint forward with everyone here.
Move order received.
We've now got contact. Now, as soon as you get contact, when everyone has moved, we'll then get into the game proper. So here we are. As soon as these 5 pips appear at the top of your screen, that's when the game is it's happening for real. Now, you can see that there are chevrons on here. There are 4 different chevrons. Are they chevrons if they're upside down? Interesting. I think they still are, aren't they? We'll call them chevrons. So these chevrons depict us. Whites depict us. Reds depict the enemy. There are no reds yet because the turret, I don't think, qualifies. It's like it's its own thing, 'cause it's a stationary object. If a tank came or a mech came, though, there would be a red chevron to denote that particular unit. Now, 5 is like a special initiative phase that I'm not going to deal with now. We'll deal with that at a later date. I hopefully will get a mech or have mech warrior abilities that will give you a 5 eventually. But at the moment, 4 is like any light mech. And so for us, that's Dark Star, that's the Irby. The Irby is 30 tons, and the Irby is therefore a light mech. Ergo, he is in Initiative Phase 4, which means he moves before all the other mechs. Well, all our mechs, because all our other mechs are medium mechs, and they're all in Initiative Phase 3. So keep going to that conclusion. All the heavy mechs go into Initiative Phase 2, and all assault mechs go into Initiative Phase 1. That should give a slight advantage to lighter mechs because they can move first and outposition the enemy. In this game, though, it's kind of not gone far enough, really, because the light mechs do become obsolete, really, as you get the heavier mechs. Like, they can soak up the damage from the lighter mechs, and then when they actually return fire, they just devastate the lighter mechs. So they had good intentions with trying to equalise it up a little bit, but unfortunately it doesn't really work. At this stage in the game, though, it is kind of good. Like, if you've got like this Irby mech that can do his little quick jaunt around quite early on, that's pretty advantageous. Although the Irby mechs are very, very famous for being very slow, so that's a thing as well. But regardless, he gets to shoot before any other medium mech or assault mech. What changes in this game is if a mech loses an initiative point by being knocked over. If a mech gets knocked over, a mech can get knocked over if it loses a leg, if its structure goes to full 5 out of 5 for not structure, stability damage, the mech falls over. A fallen over mech loses 1 point of initiative and goes into the next box. So for instance, if a medium mech gets knocked over, it will move on the next turn with the heavy mechs. So that can give you a massive advantage. Once a mech's on the floor as well, it becomes basically a stationary object, so you can do, it's just easier to hit, as you would expect. So, yeah, there are many advantages to kind of knocking mechs over in this game, not least of all the initiative bonus that you get. So, we're going to sprint forward here. Now, okay, we've got this already. So, if we sprinted here, we can't see anything on the next turn. If we sprint here, though, when there's a dotted white line, that means that the turret can see us, but we can't we can't shoot at the turret. That's because you've got to look at it like your mechs get 2 actions. You can either move and fire, so 2 actions, or you can do a sprint, which basically takes 2 movement points, so you then can't fire, or 2 action points, sorry, so you can't fire. You can jump and fire though, so that's completely fine. Jumping is 1 action point, firing is 1 action point, but sprinting, 2 action points. So can I get anywhere to shoot off my AC-10? I can't, because the Mech is so slow and pathetic, can't really do much. So instead we're just going to sprint up here with him and then leave him for the next turn. And he's not then, the turret then can't shoot at him before he can shoot at it, basically. Oculus now. Oculus does have jump jets, and he has got more jump jets than the Mech. He's got 2 more, so he can jump farther, as you can see there. And he can actually get into shooting range of this turret, but I don't think we're going to bother. We're just going to jump him into this crater. With the graphic there.
No one else singing this. Wake up, you idiots. We've got company.
But they're driving giant battle mechs. We can't fight against them.
Any more objections? Good. Get out there and fight.
She sounds lovely. Okay, one thing that I did there that I couldn't talk about because I was interrupted by Grin Sybil was bracing. When you brace, if you don't want to fire, you can just brace yourself. If you sprint, you can't do that. Bracing is like an action point, really. And it gives you a defensive bonus, so well worth doing, quite advantageous. I can't show it in this particular mission because there's no cover, but if you can get like trees, so if you were on like a hillside, there were trees there, if you get into the trees, yes, you move slower, but you do get a defensive bonus for being there. So being in trees and then bracing gives you a stacked defensive bonus, which is really beneficial. Who have we got next? So we've got Vortex, who is in the Shadowhawk. I think we're just going to take a little pop shot at this one random turret here. Might as well finish this off. You can see now we get like a purple. Now I've changed my colour scheme on the on this like targeting laser, whatever you want to call it. So it might be red on yours. Now, what you need to do is when you get into, so I've moved, so I can now fire. So if it's a coloured like line, that means I can shoot. I then click on the target. So I click on the light turret there, and it gives you like this little card that comes up, and it gives you its loadout. So 2 M lasers and 2 machine guns. It then gives you like an armor ray and an internal structure is in grey. So it's got 90 points of armor, 7 internal structure. If it's a stationary vehicle, if it's a stationary object like a turret, as soon as those 7 points of structure go, it blows up. It's different for tanks as well. Like a tank's not like a battle mech. Like if you destroy the arm of a battle mech, the arm blows up, but the rest of the mech functions. On a vehicle, if you destroy like the side of a vehicle, the entire vehicle basically blows up. That's correct as well. You can't have a vehicle that's like got no side because it wouldn't have like tracks or wheels. So it's like one of the advantages of a mech that it's like all segmented out. So you destroy a torso and an arm, and the center torso and the head and the other arm still function fine, and all the weaponry on there. So that's why battle mechs are superior. So to fire, we can actually change what we do fire here. So we can turn on and off. We can turn like the AC5 off if we want. And what we're looking for is the percentages. So you see 80% to hit, which is great. That though is quite deceptive. You don't usually get that, especially at this particular point in the game. But let's just deal with the AC5 here. You can see that target size is -4. Now remember, minuses are good in BattleTech. The reason why it's -4 is because it's a stationary object. So basically it's given us a massive advantage to hit it. That's not going to be with everything though. You can see there the M laser has got a red one, so it's got +4. That's because it's at long range for the M laser. That's pretty similar to, that's pretty much exactly how tabletop works with BattleTech, like those plus variants and minus variants. But you can see our minus variants there are like basically just trumpets. So it's got -1 for weapon accuracy. M lasers just tend to have decent accuracy as general as a weapon. Target size, same as before, it's because it's a stationary object. But a really interesting one they put in this is arm mounted. So if a weapon is in the arm, it's got higher accuracy. I really like that. I think it's a really interesting thing because a lot of people don't like mechs that have weapons in their arm because they tend to get blown up quite easily. But for this one, it gives you a bit of a more just a little bit of a bonus to putting something in the arm as opposed to if you can get it on the torso. So all those things factor together, you see, give you like an overall shot modifier, and then the game will work out the percentage for you. So in this case, it's 80% for all weaponry. Now, what you can do, you can kind of like work it out in your head, or you can kind of, if you really wanted to, you can work it out proper on what levels of damage you've got doing here. I've played this game enough just to go by instinct. So I know for this like laser turret, for instance, I'm probably only going to need like that. I don't need the SRM6, so I'll only use 2 points of our ammo. So we got 100 points of ammo for the SRM, so we're only using 2 of our missiles out of the 100. M lasers, there's no armor, and AC5 we've got 15 shots, which is more than enough. So for the purposes of this, we'll just fire, and we hit. Oh, and we've not destroyed it, so I was wrong there. But we shaved off all its armor. But why that doesn't matter in the slightest is because Code is now going to come in with the Vindicator and he'll finish it off. So that's fine. And I think we'll just attack. Yeah, we'll just attack with those two here. And there it pops. So again, it's that like I made a bad example there. Like I was just trying to work. I should have put the SRM6 on instead of the 2 in hindsight. But eventually you get kind of used to that, and you'll be like, okay, I think that'll do. Kind of. It seems to work for me. I think a lot of it's just experience in playing the game, so you kind of know what will destroy an enemy and what won't, or what will at least get it down to absolute, like, you know, terrifyingly low levels of armor or structure. Now we're in turn. We've gone to turn. Well, it's round 3 now because the first round was like a pre-round because there was no enemies. Now, though, we still get to move. We've still got one target, which is the turret generator, but there are no real targets on the board yet. So what we'll do is, I think we'll sprint here with the Irby. Hopefully he'll pick something up on sensors. And he does. So these diamonds, this is basically, we don't know if this is a vehicle or a mech. Eventually you get better at like discerning that when you get better tactic skills. So it will show like a little outline of a mech or a little outline of a vehicle, but at the moment we don't have that. I think Oculus has decent tactic skills, so he may be able to see more than the others, but I'm not 100% sure at this point. We'll see when we jump down here. So you can see if I jump here now, I've got 4 potential targets to choose from. Now Oculus doesn't have a multi-strike, so you can only choose one of these targets. So let's just jump in and see what he can do. So we've got the turret generator, which you can shoot his AC2s at. We've got a bulldog here, so that's an L laser and 2 SRM bombs. That's quite dangerous. We've got another turret with 2 M lasers and a machine gun, but the other target is actually the radar station, which I'm not going to target until I've destroyed all the enemies. Obviously, there's no time limit on this. Oh, there's another vehicle around here, and as suspected, because Oculus has got better tactics, you can see those diamonds now turn into the shapes of what they are. So we know now this is a vehicle. There are no mechs, it's just there's another vehicle on radar there as well. Now, one thing to say that's really important here are these little side chevrons that appear. These are your evasion pips. Now, the farther that you move in a turn, whether you jump or you sprint or you walk, the more of these that you'll get. The more you get, it gives a bonus to your defense, and it means that the percentage of the chance of the opposition hitting you are lessened. Every time you are shot at, though, so even if, like, let's say on this turn, a turret and one of these vehicles shoots at Buckaroo, whether it's an Alpha Strike or whether it's just one weapon, it will shave off one of these evasion pips. And eventually it will, might go down to 0 evasion pips, and then he's much easier to hit. So you've got to make that equation constantly in your head of what's your risk on getting into a shooting position, but they're going to fire back at you, but you need to get evasion pips to give you that defensive bonus. Now, for this, 4 is fine. I'm probably going to destroy at least 2 of these things, either the turret generators, which will get rid of all the turrets, or one of these vehicles in this next turn. Also, keep your eye on your little pips here for the enemy, so you can see because they are vehicles, which if you think about it in terms of the law, vehicles are slow and clunky and kind of just roll across the floor. So therefore they don't have anything like the initiative levels of mech. So even though these are relatively light vehicles, they are in the heavy mech phase of movement. So all our mechs, can move before they shoot either with turrets or they attack with their like tanks or bulldogs or whatever else these are. So it's important to keep your eye on that. Like I'm going to do them a lot of damage before they can even respond, because we are in very, very sleek, medium and light mechs. So in the first instance, I'm actually going to target this turret generator here. So that's 2 AC2s. There's 100 structure. We have an 85% of hitting each of our AC2s, and they do 25 damage. So all being well, we'll shave this down to 100.
Engaging
And we
target.
do. So you see when it appears in orange, that's the internal structure damage. If it appears in white, that's armor damage.
Yes, Commander.
Now, Code, you should be able to finish this off quite easily with a PPC.
Coordinates received.
He's only, for some reason, he's only 65% chance to hit with a PPC. So I think we'll... In fact, no, we won't bother with the LRM5. If we miss, we miss. We can hit it with it with a Shadowhawk, which we don't need to do because we blowed it up. So you can see that all the other turrets on the board have been destroyed because we destroyed the turret generator, and we got the secondary objective there, so that's good. And finally we have our big hitter now, which is the Shadowhawk, who can hopefully soften up this Bulldog some.
Moving out.
Won't destroy it. We look at this Bulldog, you can see its armor structure is 195, so 45 is not going to penetrate into the internal structure there, so we'll take our 75% shot here. There we go. And hits. And we got structure exposed, but not enough to destroy it. Good shooting today by the team. Doing very well. We've got a striker there. That's an indirect LRM attack. So you can see like that Bulldog is spotting for the striker, and then the striker's using its LRMs to shoot. We got L laser attack there as well. That's a large laser.
Damage minimal.
L lasers are blue and M lasers are green, just if you need to distinguish between the two. We now get Irby time. So can the Irby shoot? He can. Now, if the you see the line is broken there, that means it's obscured. So if we go down into this little ravine with the Irby, and then we hover over this Bulldog, you will see that it gives us some hit. So you see it gives us +2 for obscured, so that's a negative modifier. However, he's got the AC-10, he's arm mounted, so that gives him a little bit of a decent modifier, and he's inspired, which you can see on this resolve meter here, which we'll talk about in a second. But first of all, let's just take the shot, and he missed. So he rolled snake eyes then, you know, like if we were playing on tabletop. So that's useless. He's basically only got 7 points of ammo left now, and he didn't hit the tank, unfortunately. But we now recycle back to the beginning of the round, so the beginning of round 4. So we get to move everyone before they move, and again, that means they're in a lot of trouble. I'll just talk about Resolve very, very quickly. So Resolve here, you can see at the moment it's on 55 out of 100. Every turn we gain 15. And it allows us to do these 2 special moves. So the first is Precision Strike. So you can see that gives us a -4 to hit. So that's a really good bonus to hit. Very, very powerful is that. That costs 30 resolve. So at the moment we can do 1 of those. At the end of this turn, though, we'll be able to do 2 because we'll have 55 plus 15, and it only takes 30 resolve to do 1 of these special moves. The other one is Vigilance. So this is gain guarded and entrench and remove all stability damage. Your next initiative is increased by 1 to a maximum of 5, which I talked about before. 5, the kind of weird and wonderful one up there. Cost 30 resolve. That's really strong as well. I tend not to use that though. It basically gives you an advantage of being in the trees, being entrenched. So you take like a real big defensive bonus. All your stability damage disappears, which I can't show you stability damage yet because I don't have any. And the initiative goes up by 1, which means like on the next turn you can run away quicker, or you can get into position quicker. I tend to really use precision strikes a lot more though. So let's get Oculus into the fray here. I think we'll bring Oculus up on high to just so this chap over here can't outflank us. He should be able to get an alpha. Oh, that's a beautiful. I love it when they're jumping and you can kind of follow it around with the camera. I actually take off all the cinematics, apart from melee attack. I think that's pretty fun when it shows them charging up to another mech and punching it. But I like following the camera myself, actually. So yes, we can Alpha Strike. 85% for everything. And one other interesting quirk here... Oh, we can't, because we're going to overheat. So that's interesting as well. If I kind of go over these, you can see that we've got a height differential negative bonus, a minus bonus as well. So we've also got refire on there. So I spoke about recoil in the last tutorial. All AC weaponry has recoil problems. Basically means that if you shoot in consecutive turns with an AC weapon, an autocannon, you'll have a penalty to hit. But in this case, it's not actually too bad at all, because we mitigate that by being up on high, so we get that height difference. And when you're getting used to this game, I'd always advise that you just hover over your weapons, just to have a look at how those like differentials work when you are shooting. Now, if we shoot here, we'll do damage to the mech. So we won't do that yet. There may come a point where I do some overheat damage just to show you how it works, but not at this early stage. This galleon's not much for threat. It's an M laser and 2 S lasers, so it's going to have to be in really close proximity to us to do its damage. So we'll take off one of the M lasers, and that now puts us under the heat threshold, you can see here, so we're fine. So we'll go ahead and fire.
Engaging target.
And that should blow it up. There it goes. So unlike the Irby mech, who shot his AC-10 way off into the distance, Oculus can shoot. Now, what have we got here? Code's got a little bit of heat there, but if we go up on high slightly there, that'll give us a decent shot at this vehicle. I think it's a Striker. It is. And let's just have a look at our percentages here. So 1875 is very good. We are slightly above, but we're not high enough that we get that -1 for like the heat differential. That is what you see. It's got a target move there. That's its evasion pip. That evasion pip, you'll see, will disappear after we hit it, but that's still fine. When you when you factor all that in, we have a shot modifier of 0. That's good. I mean, as long as it's not too far in the pluses, you're always going to get a decent rate to hit. So 80% on a PPC, 75% on every single LRM. That's good, so let's go ahead and fire.
Engaging with target.
Oh, wonderful. The PPC popped it in 1. Excellent.
Vehicle down.
And Vortex now should be really easy for him to finish off this this Bulldog here. He's already softened it up with an AC5. So let's just keep this heat neutral.
Roger that.
Oh, and he missed actually then, but he might be enough. Just missed with his AC5, but the SRMs were enough to take it out. That's fine. Now that's kind of the first part of this mission done. All we have to do now is wreck these whatever they're called, these pylons, these radar towers. But I'm not going to do it with the Irby because he only has 7 shots left, so he can hold back for now. I'm actually not going to do it with Oculus either because he's running very hot. So we'll just jump him down here. I'll just make sure I don't... In fact, I don't think it will give me heat damage there. I kind of hoped it would and then I could show it. But we'll just jump down there. You see the jump in itself generates heat if you're watching on the left-hand side. Then I'll brace. And you see our heat now is right at the edge, yeah. But that's fine. We'll vent all that heat off as we get closer to our objectives here. And the AC2s generate barely any heat, so that's fine.
Affirmative.
That's not destroyed yet, but it should be destroyed relatively soon.
On it.
Generating quite a bit of heat here with Bugbear as well, so I think we'll drop the PPC. Just use the 2 M lasers. Should be enough to take this out. There it goes. That's 1 taken out, so that's Alpha destroyed. Bravo next.
Standing by. Confirmed.
And we're not going to shoot with Oscar because he's only got 7 shots. And we'll sprint over here with Oculus. Kind of uncharted. Sprinting, I think you'll generate more heat doing that, but you won't overheat. But when he heat sinks naturally now, you'll see his heat will go down a little bit, a smidgen. There you go. If we'd have like moved and braced, we would have got rid of more heat. So I think that's how that works. It's kind of the same on tabletop as well. Like if you are just by the action of running or sprinting, whatever you want to call it, will actually generate more heat than like a regular move will, which makes sense because you're using more of the mech's joints, generating more heat. And yeah, even though I'm kind of burning through like AC 5 ammo here, but it doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine.
Locked on.
The second part of this mission, we come across some mechs, but they should be really quite easy to take out. So I remember them being very, very badly armoured. And again, just the 2 M lasers here, just to finish this off. Lovely stuff. That's done it, Commander. The AA guns are down for now. Get to the crash site and secure the area. Now, what it will want us to do, we'll have to move to an area now to move the narrative on. So we just have to get into this zone here. And then we will basically land our ship to take the Argo. What you've got to be careful though, don't just run in there, like, you know, gallivanting in, because as soon as someone touches that, everything will start to spawn other vehicles and mechs. So you want to play this quite conservatively. You also need to kind of try and vent as much of the heat as you can out, like in these in-between phases. It's kind of weird how it works, like it will vent that heat for you in this section, but you don't do it like manually. Like usually you just like move and brace. You can sprint if you want, but if you really wanted to manage your heat, that's what you do. But for the purposes of this, as you are sprinting through and, you know, getting up to the objective, you'll naturally vent heat out because we're not using any weapons, and obviously using weapons is what generates the heat in BattleTech. So I'm just going to move everyone up to like the outside of this area here.
Position confirmed.
And that's the Irby is so slow. He's look at him. It's like he's the lightest mech, but he's so slow. I'm just going to brace everyone else while the Irby and the Vindicator get into position.
Roger.
And you see, what you need to be looking at then is you always want to be having a look at your topography. So you can see this map's actually quite nice because there's lots of places to kind of get behind to give yourself some defensive bonuses. Lots of places to jump on as well to get that height differential advantage. I'm just checking my notes here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover thus far. Cool, right, let's do this. So, as soon as I touch someone in this yellow area here, the game will move on. So, we're going to have to assume, I think, if I know this, I've played it through before, I think Grim Sybil comes from one of these buildings here. So, we want to kind of make sure we're behind some, like, topography or some, like, features so that we can basically play on our terms then, as opposed to going too far quickly like into this like second part of the mission and then being like hit by the opposition. So everyone's in there now, everyone's like ready. So the crash site is secure, Samiri. You've got a clear approach path to the derelict. 2 steps ahead of you, XO. Watch yourself, Commander, I'm coming in hot. So our Leopard should now land. There it is. And then the engineer and like the, I think the Canopian troops are with her to kind of liberate the Argo. The package is delivered, XO. I'm taking the Leopard to a safe distance before the pirates can get their guns running again. Roger that, Maya. Dr. Murad, your team is clear to enter the derelict. I hear you, Mr. Riviera. We're making our way inside now.
All right, people, you know what to do. Marines, clear the ship of pirates.
With pleasure, Dr. Murad.
You see what I mean about, like, why bother having them speaking at all if they're going to just put the text on? It's a weird decision. Anyway, so we've got some contacts here. We've got an unknown mech. Eventually our ability to read mechs by our like sensors will be so good we'll actually see the tonnage. So it will say like, oh, it's a 25-ton mech or it's a 60-ton mech, and that's super advantageous because you can really plan your tactics around that. But for the moment, we are not good enough to do that.
Receiving you.
So we've got our cheeky Irby who can barely move or walk or run or anything, but he's fine. He's basically just a walking turret. So we're just going to put him behind there, ready to pounce with his 7 points of ammo on the next turn. He's done precisely nothing in this mission yet, though, so It is what it is. It is problematic that they are so slow. Pretty much the slowest mech in BattleTech. The Atlas, which is a 100-ton mech, is as... Well, he's going to say as fast as an Irby. It's as slow as an Irby. Oh, we got a Locust there. So you can see he's picked on... got 3 Evasion Pips and he's braced, so he's got a defensive bonus. However, his armour levels are so horrendously bad. 7 armour on the left torso. Oh my goodness, he is just a walking coffin. He's just going to be exploderized. Even like indirect LRM fire will batter this guy, but you can see the percentages are terrible. However, we can mitigate that with Oculus's special power. So I'll show, this is something I wanted to show as well. You can see we've all these little icons here. Eventually you'll pick up like special moves with your characters, and Oculus has one already, which is Sensor Lock. So if we jump up on high here, so we get 4 points for evasion and we're out of the field of fire there, so that's a good place to be. And what we can do now is we can do a Sensor Lock, and we can do it anywhere within this like blue line here. So it can basically Sensor Lock anyone, but we're going to Sensor Lock this Locust, and watch what happens when we click on this. He loses 2 points of evasion, which is super good. He's already moved as well, so he can't move again in our turn. We're going to be able to hit him before he can move again. There's a special move you can do with like light mechs. You can basically like it's there. It's called reserving. I can only do it, I think, with. It popped up for a second, and I think you have to do it in the first turn. But it basically means that your light mechs move at a later time, because you might need to do that at some point. But not with medium mechs, obviously, because it's good for them to move as quickly as they can. But sometimes with light mechs, you might not want to move as quickly. So reserve is a thing. I don't tend to use it because I don't really tend to use medium mechs, light mechs, unfortunately, because of the reasons I've cited previously in like the tutorials, which was that they're really not very good when you get like the medium and the heavy mechs, so they become obsolete really quite quickly, which is very sad. Now, what can you do? That's annoying. If we were there, we can only get indirect fire. Yellow is just indirect fire only, so that means we can only use the LRM5. So what I'll do instead is I'm going to move in, and I'm going to take, even though they're not great percentages, they're okay. Oh, there's a Jenna there as well. Jennas are super powerful, like probably one of the best light mechs in the game. 4 MLAs and the SRM4, that's incredible. But I'm so tempted to hit the Jenna because I got the 65% on the PPC. I'm going to hit the Jenna, and I'm going to tell you why. Because there is a really interesting feature in this game, which is you can like accidentally hit other mechs. So there's a very good chance that I'll aim for the Jenna, but I'll end up hitting the Locust. And if I hit the Locust with a PPC, the Locust's going to explode. So we're going to hit the Jenna. We'll see what happens. Let's see if we get some accidental fire here. We've got some okay percentages, so we'll go for this. Oh, we missed with pretty much everything, and we got no accidental hits, which was annoying. But we didn't have great percentages there anyway, so I didn't expect that we'd do that much damage there. Got another vehicle coming up in the rear now. This is going to be some indirect fire, I imagine. No? Oh, something happened, but it missed.
Good to go.
Shadowhawk next, so it's our big lad. And... tempted... I think I'll leave this guy to the Irby. I can at least do something. This here, just... certain terrain features do different things. So if we move on where there's those like 3 dots, that means we're on unstable ground, and it will increase our stability damage. Don't really need to worry about it because I don't have any stability damage. I'll say it now in case I don't get any. Stability damage is these 5 pips here. They basically turn yellow. There is a threshold, so when there's a tiny little white mark here, when I go above that 2 threshold, I can no longer sprint. And you get rid of a little bit of stability damage, like naturally every time you like just walk. So you might get rid of 1 like pip, but you've got to keep your eye on it. Because if it gets too high, it means you can't run away from danger, or you're potentially going to get knocked over. If you get knocked over, that is bad. So try not for that not to happen. I'll probably this Jenner has got a sliver of stability damage, but not so much. Now let's have a look at our percentages here. Ooh, we got 70%. Right, we'll take that. Same premise as when we're shooting with the Vindicator. We might miss and hit the Locust, in which case we will exploderize the poor Locust. So we'll target the Jenner again. In fact, I might go for a precision strike here. Good opportunity to do it. Our resolve is at 100, so it's going to cost us 30 to do it. I'll do it. Gets us up to 80% with the AC5 as well. Now, this is what it does here. It gives you, basically, you can choose a cold shot. So I can choose to hit any part of it. That doesn't guarantee me the shot. It just increases the percentage. So, for instance, if I choose to try and hit the centre torso, I have a 33% chance of hitting that with a weapon, with any weapon that I'm shooting with. When we're dealing with the SRMs, that's for each missile independently. You can see it's only 44 points of armour left on the centre torso, so we could really quite easily call this guy out. So we'll do that, I think. We'll go for centre torso, 33%, and I think the Jenner's going to get toasted here, to be honest.
Acknowledged.
Yeah. Yeah, there he goes. Pop. So we destroyed the centre torso, destroys the Jenner. Most dangerous mech.
Dr. Moran, the pirates have Alpha Squad pinned down in the Argo's main hallway. Bravo Squad is holding the door to engineering, but you better hurry up.
Sergeant, talk to me.
Okay, I think they're finished. What I was going to say is, like, the other mech just made an appearance, so it's the Commando, and I was going to say I knew it was probably going to be a light mech, so whatever it would have been, the Jenner would have been more dangerous. And it's true, the Commando's a really decent mech though. It's 25 tons, but really good weaponry there for a 25-ton mech. SRM6, SRM4, and an M laser. It's a mech that's like staple to the Lyran Commonwealth, as you'd expect. Even the light mechs pack a punch. Really, really powerful mech, but yeah, really badly armoured, which is a terrible idea. Never badly armour or like give that level of armour to your mechs. It just makes them into walking coffins. Now I'm going to have to make sure I don't get outflanked here, so the Irby's going to just go around the corner and hopefully this time hit something. 85% chance of hitting, and it should take it out. This guy's drunk. He's like missed two 85%ers there. That's horrendous. Might as well just not have brought him. And the Locust is targeting the Irby. Okay. Should be... Oh, we've got some stability damage now, so we can see that a little bit. Ah, okay, so Vixen's got 1 point there, you can see. But all we have to do is move Vixen, and that should disappear. But not before I do a physical attack. Yeah. Oh no, it will actually disappear before I make the physical attack, so that's not true. We'll do that. Now, why physical attacks are super strong is because if I, like, let's say I go back here and try and shoot this guy. Look at those percentages. They're miserable. 35%, 50%. Ugh, awful. If I go and try and hit him, though, you can see my melee attack is at 85%. Another major advantage, sometimes but not always, if you hit a mech with a physical attack and successfully do it, you will get rid of all the evasion points. It's a really, really powerful move. You single-handedly get to potentially get rid of all the evasion pips, sink all your heat, and do 1 point of pretty catastrophic damage to a mech, and at 85% chance. And the S-laser will fire after that at 80% chance to hit. So let's go ahead and do a physical attack. You'll also see sometimes when you do a physical attack, there'll be certain different parts where you can hit. So for instance, if we were close, or if it was closer to us, we might have another point here, and we can select which point we want to hit at. That's important because you might get a rear arc shot, and if you do a rear arc shot and you hit the rear center torso, you'll pop most mechs in the game. You can't always do that though, it's quite difficult to do that. You really have to outmaneuver your opponent. In this case, we can only hit from the front, but that's fine. So let's go ahead and do this. And we'll get the nice cinematic now, so hopefully he doesn't fail us like the Irby. Oh, kick to the left arm, left torso, and the S-laser. Catastrophic damage there, and horrendous levels of stability damage. That's because he's got the extra arm mod, which gives him more stability damage, so that's super strong as well. Galleon's going to... Ooh, rear shot in there. That could actually get into the structure, but doesn't. Might not have been the rear structure. It might still be on the side arc there. Let's have a look. Oh, it is on the rear structure. So you can see we lost a lot of our rear armour. But that's fine. You can pretty much take one rear armour shot in a game. And then after that, you've got to be careful. What have we got here? Okay, we've got that annoying Locust who doesn't really have much weaponry. Really not keen on that Galleon getting that rear shot on us, so I think we'll take him out.
Engaging target.
I just don't want to be outflanked. We're trying to keep our centre. They're skirting around us and we're just picking them off one by one because they're not very well armoured. Scorpion now, I think he'll have a LRM maybe to do some indirect fire. He does. No, he's going... Ooh. I was very wrong. He had an AC5 there. So that was some nasty damage, but it was on the front and he can take that all day, so that's fine. Now, who next? He's got pretty high levels of heat. Let's go for that Scorpion.
Acknowledged.
We'll try and drop the PPC just to get rid of the... Oh, so we don't generate too much heat.
Roger that. Target
Lovely stuff. So there are now only two mechs left on this board.
Dr. Murad, what's happening in there? Come in, Doctor.
A little busy. The pirates are dead. But so are half of my engineers. It's an unholy mess in here. Bodies everywhere.
Can you get the ship flying again? I need an update.
Look, do you want me to talk or do you want me to fix the damn ship? You do your job, I'll do mine.
Yeah, this Irby proving that he's just utterly useless. I think, in hindsight, I probably should have stripped a bit more armour off, giving him an extra jump jet, because he just can't get into positionals, which is annoying. And his percentages to hit are dreadful. So I'm just going to bring him back here. Can't do much with him. It's the wrong, really is the wrong, like, topography for an Irby as well. The name kind of dictates what you should use him as, basically like a walking turret in a city. This lunar landscape, it's far too big for him. Like, he needs to be nipping around between buildings, not like having to try to get into position because he's got such a terrible engine. Locust now, what are you going to do? You're going to do some rear shots, probably? No. That's weird. I thought he would have gone in for the rear shot on the Shadowhawk, but they've not done it.
No sweat. I got this.
Very unusual.
Receiving you.
But their mistake is my gain here, because I think I'm going to do another physical attack, and you can see here we can actually choose where we hit. So we'll just go in on that same side. This will probably just obliterate the commando. It's on the it's on the separate, the other side. Sorry, and he's missed. Ouch, 85% and a miss with the S laser. That's horrendous. It's dreadful. That's like rolling double snake eyes. That's pathetic. What I'm gonna have to do though, I really am gonna have to try and sink some heat here. So 60% on the physical attack. 80% on that physical attack. So we'll try and do a physical attack with Bugbear just to get rid of the heat.
I'm there.
Good. Better. I do love a physical attack, by the way. So you'll see a lot of stompy robot action if you watch my my playthroughs, because I love them. Right, we can get up on high here, which we're going to have to do, because he's still got 3 evasion pips. But we might be able to finish this guy off, because Locusts are pretty terribly armoured. So let's try. Oh, one important point to note, this AC2 Plus is actually, we get extra accuracy from that plus. It's like a bit of a, it's a better weapon than a regular AC2, just in case you're wondering why one is 50% and one is 60%. We'll take 2 of the M lasers off. We'll just fire with 1 M laser and 2 AC2s here. Still did pretty amazing damage there. Yeah, leg's gone. Now that's good, because the leg will go and you will see that it is a light mech and it will now appear with the mediums on the initiative section. So you can see it should be in 4. because it's a light mech, but it's in 3. Now, how that I've not actually explained that. I should do it. You basically take a turn each. So those every mech in 3. So my 3 mechs and the opponent's 1 mech, we'll take it in turns, but they will get to move first because we're moving our light mech first. So we'll move our Irby, then they'll get to move the Locust, unless the Irby can actually do something, and he gets an 80% chance of hitting. Can you actually do something for us? And you will also know, because the mech is on the floor, we get a cold shot. Basically, it counts as an immobile object. So he's 2 on the leg. So if all we have to do is hit the leg, 15% chance to hit it. We didn't even have to. We got right in the centre torso, and the Irby actually did something. So this is good. Ooh, you think you're going to steal my ship, you miserable little scrub? Nobody steals from Grim Sybil. I'm going to carve you like a roasted pig. That's a big Mac. Yeah, but it's in terrible condition. Concentrate your fire and you should be able to take it. It's a quick draw by the looks of it. Quick draws are generally terrible everywhere. Tabletop, this game, they're not good mechs. 60-ton mechs. They're just weird mechs. Like some mechs that have really good engines work quite well. Quick draws, unfortunately, just don't. I know I always remember quick draws in the if you read like the source books, which I do because I'm geeky. It says that they've got like really weird ankles, and that a lot of opponents target their ankles because once you blow the ankle up, then they're basically finished. But I think it gives it like more maneuverability because they're like it's like a special joint, but it's a little bit like prone to going wrong. So interesting little BattleTech fact there. Right, in the first instance, we're going to jump up on high with Oculus, but we're not going to shoot. Just going to jump and we're going to do a sensor lock and see what you are. Oh, it's a Shadowhawk. It's the same as what we got. It's the 2H. But it doesn't have the nice skin that we have. It's got the regular Shadowhawk skin. We've got like the special Shadowhawk skin. And we'll go in, I think, and do some shooting here because you'll have no Evasion Pips.
Location confirmed.
So we get a nice 80% here on the AC5.
Confirmed.
Nice. We've got in the right arm there. I'm actually more scared by that Shadowhawk than I am with the quick draw. It's got decent levels of armor as well. You can see there are some icons down here. It will tell you. So you can see this one is shoddy. So it's got 50% of its usual armor. So it's still pretty bad, but it's not as bad as the other mechs that have been thrown at us.
Yes, Commander.
Oh, have I accidentally moved? No, I haven't. I thought I'd clicked my mouse by accident, but I'm not. Okay, so code, you can. I think we'll bring you here as well for another shot. Get a nice 80% on the PPC. That sounds grand to me. And then we'll bring the Irby around here to do some outflanking. If he can get there in time, that is, with his slow engine.
Roger that.
Then we missed with a PPC, just. Wasn't a catastrophic miss, it was just a... But a miss is a miss. They're all catastrophic. The quick draw moves now, so he is a heavy mech. He should have an LRM-10, I think. Yeah, he does. So that's indirect fire. So again, that's the Shadowhawk. He's looking at our mechs and then he's firing over the terrain.
Receiving you.
I'm not actually going to try to outflank him because I don't want the Irby to come across the quick draw. It's massively outmatched. So instead, I'm actually going to do a precision shot with the Irby this time, and you better hit Darkstar. Got 85% chance, and he finally, oh, wonderful. We got SRM crits there. The Irby just wrecked the Shadowhawk. That was amazing. That's the power of an ammo explosion. It just caused the mech. I can't believe I was bad-mouthing him so much. He's actually taken out 2 mechs now. Pure luck. One was like grounded for him, and the other one he just got the random like ammo hit on. So that's basically game over. Yeah, that was cool. Right, we're just going to move across here with Buckaroo. I'm just venting as much as the heat as I can. We'll do a sensor lock on old Grim Sybil.
Sensor lock on target.
Now, Vortex, can you get in for a shot? You can't, which is annoying. I'm going to sprint you here. Just get behind that that little structure there, so you can't get an alpha strike. You can get some indirect fire maybe. And Bugbear, we're going to try to do some outmaneuvering now. Oh, that's weird. Why? Oh, is it because it's Alloway? I don't know why. How we can see that when we're behind like the mountain. It's weird. I think there might be a glitch in the game. I don't think it can see us. It's saying it can see us, but we can't see it. Bit weird. I should have noticed, I'm just looking at my notes here, the stability damage thing. You'll have noted, I don't know if I said this, when the locusts fell over, if you destroy the leg of any mech, it automatically falls over, as you would expect. So that's why the locust went bye-bye. It didn't max the stability damage, we just destroyed the leg, and the leg caused it to fall. The leg destruction caused it to fall over. So we've got Oscar now with that magical AC-10 that just wrecked the opposition. I'm not bothered, excuse me, I'm not bothered if I hit this guy. I'll probably miss, 65% chance of hitting, but it takes one evasion pip off. And he missed, but that's fine. Again, just get rid of that one evasion pip. Still got, you should have 4 points of ammo left. And now we can start really taking this guy to task. So he's outmaneuvered now on all levels. You've already got into the structure there. And we destroyed an M laser. Wow, that was an amazing shot.
Critical damage detected.
Vortex, you can. We are in the tutorial, so I'll show you this. If I go right up to him and try and shoot, you see the AC5 goes down to 45% to hit. That's the minimum range penalty. But we can use the S laser. Or if we go too far back, you can see. Well, not too far back. If we kind of go back to a nice, happy distance there, we can't use the S laser, but we get 80% on everything else, which we are going to do. Another thing to keep in mind, the quick draw is a 60-ton mech and it has a good physical attack. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it'll probably be, you know, like 70 or 80 or something like that. So I don't want to get so close to it that it can do that. So I'll try to get the 80% and keep just far away enough for it so it can't punch or kick me, so we'll do that. And we're attacking on the same side that Oculus just chewed up as well, so we might actually destroy an arm here.
Target confirmed.
We do. Right arm destroyed and M laser crit.
Critical hit, Commander.
And then Code can like get the real outflanking on the go here. Nice. And we can't alpha strike, unfortunately, we run too hot, but everything else should. If we hit, yeah, there goes a leg. So we look at hit the right leg there. Usually, I should have talked about this earlier, depending on what angle you hit from, gives you the what percentage chance you have of hitting. So for instance, if you hit, like we did there, we hit at like stage left, so it's left. So we had a higher chance of hitting the left-hand side, but we got a small chance of hitting the right leg, and we got that. Oculus and Vortex has softened up that right leg, so that PPC hit and it just exploded it. But there was that was a slim chance of happening. Much higher probability we would have hit the left leg, because that's the advantage that we are hitting for. Now, if this Irby mech destroys this quick draw, I don't know how I feel about that, considering his terrible shooting. Let's see what happens. No, of course he doesn't. He missed. That would have been slightly disingenuous, I think, given that all the other mechs are doing all the heavy lifting here. I think ideally we give the kill to Vixen. We can actually go in quite close now because he can't sprint or run because he's only got one leg. He can move, but his movement is massively reduced, so we might finish this guy off now.
Engaging with target.
Not quite head hit there, so the pilot injured. That was one of the missiles. If anything hits the head, you get an automatic injury.
Let's do this.
Now, ooh, that's a good percentage hits there, but our heat is very, very high here.
On my way.
So we're going to have to drop the PPC, unfortunately. And we can just fire both M lasers. We're literally right on the cusp of overheating. I don't want to shoot. I don't like doing internal damage, but suffice to say, if you go over that limit, you do internal damage to yourself. which isn't a great idea. And that was... Oh, I was going to say terrible shootings, but his LRM's finished it off, which is incredible. Get your lance to the Argo, Commander. I'm just about done. Okay, so we have to get everyone back in this little hex over here.
Moving to position.
Confirmed.
So that was pretty textbook. I think I kind of showed everything there. Didn't really do any bracing. Bracing is really useful, but I didn't do any in that particular mission. Bracing, it just gives you a defensive bonus, and it sinks a lot of your heat by doing that, so that's great. I dealt with, I think, most weaponry. I didn't do indirect fires myself, but the opposition did, so we got to see that. So pretty comfortable. That covered all the basics in regards what you need to look for, and when you're hitting enemies, what vantage you're attacking from, like how the minuses and the positive work on hitting and reflect your percentages. So happy with that, I think. It's done. I can't believe it. It really worked. The engines are online, and I have thrust control. Go now. Celebrate later. Roger that. Hang on, Commander. For the first time in 2 centuries, this beast is going to fly.
Mission successful.
Awesome. I think there might be a cutaway scene shortly, which is very cool. It shows like the Argo coming out into into space. It's very, very nice. 1.152 million C-bills. That's very, very nice. We got all our objectives there. Got some extra like rated points with the mercenary review board. Excellent. Well, the only real that we didn't take any internal damage, no crits, no pilot injuries. Oh, sorry, no mech warrior injuries. We took a little bit of rear damage to Vixen. One important thing to note on this game: you don't have to repair armor damage; it does it automatically. That's not the case in things like Mech Warrior 5, where you have to repair all the armor that gets damaged, which can get a little bit irritating. This game cuts all that out, which I quite like. Most importantly though, look at everyone got a kill. You know, wow, awesome. And Bugbear absolutely wrecking the enemy. 5 kills, beautiful. It tells you the experience you get there as well, so everyone got 600 experience from that particular mission. Ooh, oh, look at that, we can get 2 mechs. I've got 3 points of a Jenna, so we'll definitely take that. Jenna's an excellent mech. I think we'll take the Locust as well just to sell it. Might take the quick draw shot. I really don't want a quick draw. Is there any weaponry here I want? Not really. SRM6 would be useful because I don't have any, but I can pick them up in stores quite easily when we get into the other systems. I don't really need one at this moment in time, so I think we'll get the quick draw instead just to sell it. And when we confirm this, so we get 3 items to pick, but then we'll get 15 items in total, so we should get 12 regular items just like picked at random from here. So hopefully we'll get the SRM6. Yes, we get the SRM6. Awesome. Yeah, that was really textbook. That entire mission was very, very well done. So excellent. I think now we go into the little cutaway scene, which is very cool. And someone is setting fireworks off. If you can hear any explosions, it's not Grim Sybil having a last hurrah. I think someone's having maybe like a wedding or something like that next door. Well, not next door, down the street. Here she is, our secret benefactor, who was having the Magistracy of Canopus kind of contact us about doing that gig for her. And this is Lady Arano, who is our main client, and who will be hiring us to get her back on the throne, basically the Oregon Reach. In exile, high orbit Alloway. This is Anna Maria Centrola. Centrola are like the ruling family of the magistracy, in case you're wondering. You've done excellent work, Commander Durant, and you've earned yourself an opportunity to do more. Meet your real client. I don't believe that she needs an introduction. I'm happy to see you again, Oculus, or should I say Commander. You've done well for yourself. The old man will be pleased. It must come as a shock to you seeing us here at Alloway, seeing us at all. I apologise for that, but I had to be sure that you were the mech warrior I remember before I reached out to you. And now, with the Argo on its way to Lighton for repairs, I know you are everything I remember and more. What should we say here? Oh yeah, I can't believe you're standing here. The entire Reach is convinced that you're dead. She was dead. Lord Madeira too. I'm sorry, Lady Rano, but the news feeds ran footage of your dropship getting blown out of the sky on a loop for months. That wasn't her dropship. The broadcast of her death were directorate propaganda. Well-crafted lies to keep the masses in line. And with that, Kamea, I'll leave you to your reunion. Best of luck with your negotiations, and keep me apprised of whatever decision you come to. Okay. Lady Centrella is right about the propaganda, Oculus. My uncle's directorate is run on lies, though in this case they very nearly became true. The directorate's assassins pursued us to the frontier. In the months following the coup, we had more than our share of close calls. Eventually they gave up looking for us, and we've been living in exile ever since. Okay, you made it off Crown and you found me. Let's talk about why. I imagine you've already guessed. I intend to seek justice for my uncle's crimes. I intend to take my throne back, but I can't do it without you. We have resources, an army drawn from all across the frontier. Perhaps most importantly, we have the patronage of Lady Centrella and the tactic support of the government. That means money, a great deal of money. I hadn't realised the Oregon coalition was on such good terms with the magistracy. It wasn't, not really. Oh, this is Alexander Madeira. He's like... he's Lady Arano's like head confidant, consigliere, advisor, best friend, whatever you want to say. But they went to see the directorate. They want to see the directorate dealt with, and it isn't in their interest to do it themselves. They're prepared to keep their own hands clean. It's like proxy war. This happens all the time in BattleTech. In light of this, Kamea's claim to the throne is an asset worth paying for. Usually they run proxy wars through mercenary companies, but in this case they're using, somebody who wants to get power and has legitimacy to get that power back. The Rimworld periphery is a powder keg, Oculus. Tensions between the Taurian Concordat and the Federated Suns are high, and my uncle's military posturing could be viewed as a provocation by either. If open conflict between supervisors were to erupt, it would be difficult for anyone to remain neutral. The Magistracy wants to avoid getting dragged into a major war. Makes sense. And your House Centrella's best hope for a clean solution. They fill your war chest, you remove the directorate from the board, and the Magistracy lets tensions between the Fed Sons and the Taurians simmer down on their own. Am I reading the situation correctly, Lady Arano? Correctly enough, Mr. Oliveira, but understand that this isn't just about diffusing a dangerous situation. For me, taking on the directorate is personal. My uncle betrayed me. The founding council has been reduced to a handful of powerless figureheads. Our very identity has been cut away and discarded. House Espinosa is long overdue a reckoning, and with your help I will bring them one. Join with me, Oculus, and we will not fail. This company is a business, not a charity. If you want us to win your throne, it's going to cost you. Damn right it is. I'm expecting nothing less, Oculus. You're a mercenary after all. Pledge yourself to me and I will buy your company's debts, all of them. You'll be free to travel and seek clients as you please, as long as you come with me when I call you. And on the day I reclaim my throne, your obligation will be forgiven, your debt wiped clean. Of course, you will also be paid for every battle you fight at our behest, at a rate that will feel quite generous given the clientele that you're accustomed to. Thanks to House Centrella, we have money to burn. I don't like the thought of being some noble's pawn, but I don't like being in hock to a bunch of lunchjacks either. He's a Capellan, this guy. This sounds like a pretty good deal, boss. Just saying. Deal, let's go make Mastiff Montgomery proud. He would be. In truth, I feel that he's smiling down on us even now. I'll take my leave of you now. I have an army to rally and preparations to make, but it won't be long before I contact you again, and when I do, I need you ready. Prepare yourself and your company, Oculus. Our war is about to begin. Okay, Lady Arano just bought up all our debt, Commander. That means no more banks restricting our jump ship access. We can travel to more systems now, but we should still steer clear of the major states. We don't want it to look like we're going to cut and run. Good news, Commander. Once Dr. Murad and her crew got that wrecked ship safely away, they found most of a Centurion in its cargo hold. It's not equipped for combat yet, but with a little love and attention, I think I could return it to service, swing by the mech bay to check it and order a refit. Centurion's a really good mech. It's 50 tons, very, very good levels of like usable tonnage, so it's a big weapons platform.
That mech you asked for is cleared.
So we got the Centurion, great. We should have 2 more mechs as well. We got the Locust and we got the Jenners, so we're going to have to choose one now, I think, to get rid of. What I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to put the Irby into storage because I like having an Irby on the books, but the Centurion absolutely trumps it. So we'll send you to storage and then decide what we want to do at a later time. So that's it. That's the end of the tutorials. Hopefully if you watched all those now, you know what BattleTech is, what era we're in, what you're fighting for, who you're fighting, how to do how to make mechs and make them good and make them efficient, and then how to actually play the game. So I think hopefully it took me about 3.5 hours, I'd imagine, but I've covered, I think, everything over those 3 tutorials. The next episode we'll be doing the second priority mission. And at that point, it will be like the playthrough proper. So I won't be spending any amount of time discussing what I'm doing. I'm just going to play it, talk a little bit about tactics, talk a little bit about lore when I do it. I also may go into the settings and speed things up for when I'm moving, as opposed to having to watch everyone move or run. But I'll see how I feel. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it there. So thank you very much if you've watched these tutorials. Hopefully you got something out of that, and I'll hopefully catch you again in the next episode.